Hey man, how are you?
I said, let me just get my connection going here.
Yeah man, it's cool. I know that I got a bit lucky to try and start a bit earlier, but yeah, it's one of those days where you want to get things in a way over with because, personal responsibilities. So it was kind of you to let us start slightly earlier. So how you been, man?
Yeah, doing okay, doing okay. Considering the circumstances. Um,
Mm, mm,
you know, a
mm, mm.
little bit
Yeah,
deflated
yeah, yeah.
yesterday, but got over it. So I guess we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
get into it.
Yeah, yeah. Now that you brought that subject up, let's start with that. Okay, yeah. I know you spoke about this before we got on air about giving credit to the opposition, and yeah, that's true. England deserved it, considering I think, and to be brutally honest, I think Elgar kind of gave them the head start by winning the toss and batting first. It's like as the Saint said, right? I think people end up overcomplicating it by thinking too far ahead with history and all the conditions. As a saying, I think he had learned this mistake when he made that decision when he was captain of England when he bowled first and man they got smashed for 400 runs. So I think Elgar made that mistake by overanalyzing and by wanting to bat first. He should have just judged the conditions on the day, and because he saw it's overcast, just bowl first. And you know what I'm thinking, right, about this two spinner theory, right? He could have just used Keshav and Aiden Markram to do some spin, It's not like Markram is a bad bowler. Even Alga could have put some spin there at the end. So I think Jansen could have still played, eh? And when I hear the reason why he dropped Jansen, it made it even worse. I thought he was rested because of that grandfather theory, but that wasn't even the case. So all round pathetic. I think South Africa should have. I think they gave England a chance to win, but that's how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, congratulations to England. I guess they deserve this game. I mean,
Mm,
it was a
yeah.
dominant performance from day one with the ball. And they took it into their batting, and that lead was obviously beyond
Mm,
the Proteas reach
yeah.
how it is. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like I'm saying, there are a few things that concerned me in this game, Sid, and obviously at the toss, uh, I wasn't. I mean, if you look at winning the toss and batting first, yeah, I guess it probably was a right decision with regards to the team that he picked. The
Mm,
team that he
mm,
picked with two
mm,
spinners, Mama
mm, mm,
and but I mean, for that to happen, you've got to take this game to day 4, day 5, and you've got to put the runs on the board. And that didn't happen.
mm.
I
Yeah.
mean, I, I think we need to stop fooling ourselves here in terms of what the issue is. The issue was not with the team that he selected. The issue was with the top 6. And that's what we need to discuss today is the top 6
Mm,
has been letting the Protein down for far too long. I mean, the Bavuma not
yeah.
being there has obviously added to it being a little
Mm,
bit fragile in the sense because
mm,
I think Bavuma adds that calmness in that middle order, especially, he might not get
mm,
those big hundreds, but those innings that he plays are really, really, important to the Proteas. And a lot of time, those are match winning innings that he plays. So
mm,
Bavuma
mm,
is such an important to this test team, and he was surely missed. But yeah, I think we as a fan base we need to stop fooling ourselves here. And the bowlers have bailed this team out for far too long. For far too
mm,
long, the
mm,
bowlers have bailed this team out. I mean, the Proteas are
mm,
being on this winning run for some time now, where they haven't lost Test series. I mean, it started off with the West Indies last year when Elgar took over the captaincy, and we know it was a real um, it was such a difficult situation prior to that with the test team. The test team was in
mm,
shambles. Elgar came in, he brought a bit of stability into it. Won in the West
mm,
Indies, came home, beat India. I mean, came from behind,
mm,
beat India, went to New Zealand, drew 1-1 with the best test team in the world at that time, where New Zealand, I mean, test championship winners. And,
mm,
we thought it was a good result in New Zealand. Obviously, came home against Bangladesh. But if you look at that top 6 of South Africa for quite some time now, it's been failing, and it's been failing quite dismally as well. I mean, if you look at the home series against India as well, I mean, they struggle. They struggle in home conditions, and it was just the case that India were just as bad with their backing that two teams actually cancel each other out and ended up winning the series. But I wouldn't smash this bowling side up for this performance, because I mean they only human, and if you don't give your bowling attack a total to actually bowl to, you're not really gonna back into this game, and I think that's exactly what happened here. So yeah, I mean serious problems with this top six. I mean this game they really got exposed. They got exposed in the first morning. It's overcast. And this is a problem with this Proteas lineup at the moment. When there's some sort of movement, seam movement, swing, this batting lineup seems to get found out, and boy did they get found out on day one. And if I look at this batting lineup, there's not a single player there. You can say there's not a single player there that's actually cemented his place. And you can go back to the openers with Elgar. I mean Elgar. I mean he's a captain. But I think we need to start seeing some big scores from Elgar at the moment. So leading from the front. He scored a couple of 50s along the way, but he needs to convert it into hundreds. And if you convert it into hundreds, you give your side a chance of winning. I mean, Ervia. I've been a fan of Ervia coming into the side. I thought he's added a bit of stability into it, but he's obviously still trying to find his feet as well at test level. I mean, you could score as many runs as you want at domestic, but I mean the biggest test is international and test cricket in that sense, So he's still finding his feet, and then I can talk about KP. He had a great start, against India, scored those half centuries, but he's also actually trying to find his feet at test level in terms of trying to get that one big score that take him away. But I'd keep KP in the side for now. In terms of his experience, that he's obviously he's been on a couple of tours now. Been to the Caribbean on the first two, and he obviously been to England as well now. That will hold him in good stead. But yeah, I mean, the major concern for me at the moment is 4 and 5, Sid. I mean, you've got Markram. I mean, I got to say it. I mean, this is really getting crazy now. I mean, this guy has been out of form for quite some time. I mean, you're literally talking about a walking wicket here. You're talking about a walking wicket here in Aiden Markram. I mean, T20, he's been fantastic in T20, but he just hasn't been able to get his form back in the test arena. We've kept him for quite some time now. India series he failed. We dropped him. I mean, I wouldn't say we dropped him, but we put him down the order in New Zealand. He failed again in New Zealand. He missed the Bangladesh series because of the IPL, and came back here in the series and he's failed again. I think time has come now where you've got to make a harsh call here, and you've got to drop him. You've got to drop Aiden Markram. I think it's been crazy. It's been crazy from the selectors to give him this run, and you've got a youngster there in that set, a youngster that I have so much of admiration for in Rickleton, and I think he deserves come the next game. I think this experiment, the Aiden Markram, has actually overextended it, and I think he needs to go. Rassi, I'm a bit disappointed with Rassi.
He's injured though. He won't be playing the next match anyway, so I think Rickleton will come in for him.
Yeah, I guess Rickleton will probably come in for Rassi because Rassi is injured. But I think we've come to a point now, Sid. We cannot be carrying a 33-year-old. Obviously, he's got a lot of experience, but he's still trying to find his game in Test cricket. Rassi is a fantastic ODI player, fantastic T20 player. I think those formats are actually quite good for him. But I think at the moment we need to start blooding a youngster, Sid. At this point in time, we need to give a youngster that's going to give us 10, 15 years. That can come into the setup. They've got a few experience heads in. Pavuma got a few experience heads in Elga, and just give that youngster a chance to flourish, because I think Rashi's taking up a spot there in the side at the moment. I don't think he's really, really, really cemented his spot in the side as a batter. We'll talk about the innings that he played yesterday. I give him a lot of credit to coming out at batting the way that he batted yesterday, even with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I think,
but I just feel at this moment in time, Rassi Pandadusan and Aiden Markham need to, they need to be dropped from this test side. You might as well put two youngsters into that side there at the moment, and look at it as being a long-term sort of solution now for the Proteas, because Rassi is 33 now. He's going to be 34 next year. In age is not on his side. As I said, he hasn't submitted his spot in this test team as yet. You got to look into it. So probably Rickleton is going to come in for Rassi in that final test. But I think Aiden Markram also needs to be dropped. Aiden Markram also needs to be dropped from this test team at the moment, sir. And I don't mind Kaya Zondo coming into this team. So I think that the changes, are quite obvious at the moment. Zondo and Rickleton in for Rassi and Markram.
I'll tell you why I'd keep Rassi. At least he has that perseverance, He's not being as badly as Aiden Markram. I'd rather keep him, but anyway, he's injured, so he won't play the next match. But yeah, I think if Palmer doesn't play, I think you will have Jansen back, thank God, and then you'll have Rickleton for who's that other guy? Rickleton for Rassi. And if you do drop Makram, which will be interesting, then you'll have Zondo, I guess. I think those are the three replacements for the next test match. I don't know if you agree with me on that.
Yeah, look, I don't fault Dean Helker's decision, with the team that he picked. I think he picked the team on conditions. And then we saw yesterday with Jack Leach. Jack Leach got a lot of turn towards the end of the day. So, this pitch would have really been a handful for batters on day 4 and day 5. So by all means, Hama and Keshav would have came into this game. Although Keshav and Hama didn't bowl very well in that first innings, I got to admit they didn't really bowl well. They didn't really attack the stumps. They won a lot of plays and misses with Hama and Keshav. I think the England batters, especially the two Bennetts, Folks and Stokes, they're quite comfortable against the spin. So there were a few tactical errors from Elga in this game, and we can talk about it in terms of his approach after lunch, especially on day 2 when he made Hama and Keshav bowl straight after lunch, and leaving your best bowler on the sidelines, which was Nokia, and Nokia was still threatening. I couldn't understand the captaincy tactics from Elga at that moment in time. It was absolutely bizarre for me watching that, and Nokia was the most threatening of all the bowlers. So look, I sorely hope Janssen is going to come back into this team. Sanity will prevail in that last game where Janssen is going to come back into this team. So I think it's time to actually give Zondo and Rickleton a chance, because I think they've obviously earned it on merit. We've seen what Zondo did in the warm-up game. He scored a 80-odd. So I think deserves his spot in the side at the moment. And Rickleton has been playing county games. He's played about 7 or 8 county games this season, and he's averaged about 72 in these conditions. So what more does the guy need? What more does the guy need to be picked in the side? So I think that probably should do it. I think Aiden Markram's test career is probably over for now. He's got to go back to domestic, and he's got to try and score those big hundreds again, and try to force his way back into the side. So it's tough. It's tough to look at it at this way, because I was a big Aiden Markham fan at one stage, when he first came into the scene, and he was the guy that we looked at as being the guy that's going to give us. He's going to be our test opener for for years to come. He was the best talent that that was in the country at that time. But I think on top of that, there was a lot of pressure on him as well, because we lost a lot of good players after that, Sid. I mean, the likes of AB, the likes of Amla. There wasn't much experience around. And, something.
Yeah. You also lost
exactly.
Puff, so.
Right. We lost so much of experience in a short period of time. Aiden came in as a youngster, and, he had to obviously, become one of those senior players at that moment in time. So, yeah, I mean, it's tough on a player, but I think, he's got to look at his technique at the moment. I mean, it's evident there's quite a few flaws there at the moment in that technique. He's got to go back, play a lot of first-class cricket, and force his way back into the side. So, by all means, it's not going to be a given that he's going to come back into the team, scoring those runs. I mean, if the likes of Rickleton, the likes of Zondo, the likes of KP are going to be performing, it's going to be difficult for him to force his way back into the side, but he's got to keep on persevering. And look, the door is not closed on him completely, but I feel he needs a break from Test cricket. He really, really needs a break from Test cricket. He's got to go back, look at his game, see where it's going wrong, and try and come back a better player.
Yeah, I mean, I just think hopefully, should they say win the toss again on another pitch that's similar to this one, or even similar to Lord's, we must just bowl first and then see how England handle it, because I think we kind of gave them the chance to equal the series, because England are used to bowling first and dictating the match. I mean, I still have my theories on how great they are as a test team until they win a match, batting first. So we'll see how good or otherwise they are in the final test match. And I think that, I think let's just give Aiden Markram one more match, because it's the last one. I don't think it'd be nice to put Zondo in the decider, because there'd be too much pressure on him. Rather let Aiden do his last rites for the final test match, and hopefully he can give us a nice 50 or 100 end of his. Although I guess if he makes 100, he'll just keep playing. So, but well, he does owe us a century somewhere. So I think so. I'm still going with our prediction 2-1 for SA to wrap up this first portion of our chat. I don't know if you agree with me or not.
I disagree, Sid. I disagree with that Aiden Markram theory. I think he needs to be dropped. I think he's had enough time, and he hasn't really taken that spot. He hasn't really made that spot. I mean, if he made a 70 or an 80 in this game, he probably would have retained his place. But I think time is up. I think Aiden Markram needs to be dropped for that last game, Sid.
No.
And by all means, put his own.
But if he makes 100 in the decider, you have to agree that he would have given himself some hope of still being in the test team. But if he fails in this last match, then I think he has to be dropped. I'll agree with you on that. I just think it's a decider. It's not fair to put Zondo in the firing line, because imagine if Zondo fails, he'll end up looking bad because it was a decider. So better just mark him maybe his last match. That's all what I'm saying. Last match.
Honestly, Sid, I mean, I've seen it happening for quite some time now with Aiden Markram. He doesn't look comfortable. Yeah. He doesn't look comfortable even at number 4. So, yeah, I mean, you could call it a side. Probably the selectors might give him a go. But I mean, no matter what score he makes that final game, I think it's game over for Aiden Markram.
Even if he makes 100. Even if he makes 100.
It's really unlikely. It's really unlikely with Aiden Markram at the moment. So really unlikely.
But let's say hypothetically, if he makes 100, will you still drop him?
I'd still drop him. I'd drop Aiden Markram. I'd still drop him. I'd give Rickleton a chance. And obviously age is on Rickleton's side. I mean, he's in good form.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah, I'd like to see good calls be made in this last test match. I mean, you talk about Aiden Markram. I mean, he hasn't given the fan base, hasn't given the the coaching staff much confidence in him at the moment in terms of his returns. So I I think the end is near for Aiden. Eh? I think the end is near.
Okay. All right. So you still, but let's just do a quick prediction. So you still want to go for SA 2-1. I'll stick to my prediction of 2-1, provided that SA bowls first, of course.
You know the side with Janssen in at number 7. It's such a, I mean, the balance of the side is so amazing with Janssen at number 7, and you know you got 4 seamers and you got your 1 spinner. So I mean, if Janssen back in the side, and you know he's obviously going to add a lot of threat with his bowling as well. You know, swinging it away from the right-handers and you know left-handers as well. So I think I think if the Proteas obviously they definitely go back to Janssen there, and yeah, it's back to the drawing board after this game. So you know, fingers crossed. I think they can get the series done 2-1. So yeah, I'm hoping for some big performances in that final game from, especially Captain Elgar. I think he's going to come good in that last game of the Oval and probably score a ton.
Okay, all right. So we move on to the next segment. The Afghanistan's upset the Sri Lankans by 8 wickets. Who would have thought it? And that too with 10 overs to spare. I was kind of trying to watch most of the highlights on YouTube actually, and yeah, man, Afghanistan bowled great today. What were your thoughts before we get into the blockbuster one?
Yeah, I mean, Asia Cup has just begun, and a bit of a low key sort of subdued start to the tournament. There hasn't been a lot of hype towards this tournament. I mean, we got a massive game today, so let's hope we get a full house. But that Afghanistan performance yesterday was fantastic. I mean, we know what their spinners can do, and we saw the best of it yesterday. You know, the Sri Lankans. I mean, they had a horrendous start to this game. They were I think 3 for 2, and I mean a bit of a controversial dismissal there with Nissanka. Hey, I think that's a huge talking point. I thought the third umpire got that completely wrong, Sid. I think there was no big sort of deviation there. I think it was just I mean, if you had to look at the deviation after the ball had crossed past the bat, it was a very slight deviation. And that's probably a normal deviation when the ball hits. You know, you see some sort of movement of the pitch, you get that sort of deviation. So that was a really poor decision, really controversial decision. I thought, I mean, I was absolutely stunned. And I thought that rocked Sri Lanka quite severely in terms of what score they wanted to, you know, set Afghanistan. I think they were really short there with posting that 105. So I mean, that was a big talking point of this game. I mean, one of the huge talking points, I mean, doesn't take away from the fantastic performance of Afghanistan yesterday. I mean, completely outplayed Sri Lanka. But I thought that just went a big way in actually, you know, rocking Sri Lanka back. So, I mean, I don't know what you thought of it, but I thought it was a shocking decision from the third umpire.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a gray area because of these movements with that, I don't know what to call it. I think, you know what the problem is? Because it's so confusing with the third umpire, whether it's that slight edge or whether it's the bat hitting the air. So it's a 50-50 one. It's like what the LBW calls. Like the ball just scratches the stump and the umpire gives it out, it stands. But if the umpire gives it not out, you know, this is why I get so irritated with these sorts of DRSs because it's so ambiguous. There's no consistency. So, but anyway, it is what it is. It's such a 50-50 thing, you know.
I wouldn't say it was that 50-50, Sid, because I mean, if you look at a normal nick, you'll see a bit of, you know, you'll see quite a big deviation where you'll probably get like sort of a,
although,
a plateau.
You could have solved it. They could have used that microscope angle. You know, you have those not microscope, you know, the zoom angle where they zoom it in to see if the bat really was close enough to the ball. You know those zoom angle they used to do it very close up? They could have used that, you know. They could have tried to use that angle.
The access of is obviously a hotspot, which they use in Australia. So that probably could have given a much more, much more favorable sort of, result. But I mean,
Mm.
that's day and night. So, I mean, if you look at it, in real time, there was actually no contact with bat or ball there. So, I mean, I had a look at it a few times, and as I said, it was a shocking decision. It was absolutely daylight robbery from the third umpire. It's a
Yeah.
shocking decision. So, I mean, if you look at the whole Sri Lankan
Mm.
coaching staff, I mean, he stood up, and even the coach Silverwood, he was absolutely dumbstruck with that decision. So I thought it was really harsh, very harsh on Sri Lanka at that given in time. So I just hope we don't have any of those shocking decisions to come in the tournament, because I think it spoiled what would have been a really competitive encounter between these two teams. So, yeah, I mean, congratulations to Afghanistan. I mean, good start to the tournament for them.
Yeah, and they got a beautiful net run rate of 5. So I think they're obviously qualified already. Even if they don't pitch up for the next match, I think they'll be okay. I think now Sri Lanka's fate is on Afghanistan beating Bangladesh. Who would have thought, man? A top nation is relying on a low, I don't want to call them lower grade, but like still, I think up in the ranks nation to save their butts. So kind of makes it funny in a way, but yet fun. So, but I'm happy for Afghanistan. I mean, they've really been improving more and more every single time. So, yeah, man. I kind of hope that Afghanistan does beat Bangladesh. It'll be kind of fun. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
let's
good.
get to
I mean,
yeah.
it'll really be a decider between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, and I mean, who would have thought? I mean, that would be a decider on to who gets to the semifinals. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be an exciting finish, no doubt about it. I don't think it's over by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, okay, let's get to the blockbuster now. India and Pakistan. Ugh, these two teams. Yeah, I remember the last time Pakistan played India, it was pretty one-sided. I think this time will be much closer. I think under Rohit Sharma, India's playing great cricket, even though they're doing a lot of khichdi with their team, but they still seem to be winning. Ugh, I use Hindi. I think you know what I meant, right? When I said khichdi.
Yeah, I mean, blockbuster game. I mean, the two arch rivals. I mean, it's the biggest rivalry in cricket. India Pakistan doesn't get any bigger than this, eh? I'm hoping to see a full house in Dubai today. Hoping to see a much better atmosphere than what we saw yesterday at Dubai. I think it was a bit subdued. There were a lot of empty seats, so I'm hoping for a full house. And I know the tickets have been sold out already. So yeah, I mean, Pakistan. I mean, we got to admit they have a fantastic record at Dubai, eh? And it's like a home away from home for Pakistan. So this is essentially like a home game for Pakistan. So I mean, this is a tough one to call. It's a really tough one to call. I mean, you got two really fantastic T20 sides here in India and Pakistan. I think it's a 50-50 game. Hey, I think the toss is going to play a huge role here, and I think whoever wins the toss is probably going to have a bold foot, because I think chasing is quite the preferred choice at Dubai. Hey, especially with the dew that comes in. So I wouldn't be surprised. Whoever wins the toss would probably opt to bowl first and then chase whatever goes their way. So I think the toss is really going to be crucial here today. Well, what do you think?
It depends on the pitch, eh? I think Pakistan prefers to chase, isn't it? From what I could remember.
Absolutely, they're chasing side. Yeah.
Oh, so I think whoever chases will win the match. I'll put it like that. I'm gonna go with my patriotic duty and say India to win. You?
Yeah, I'm a little bit on the fence here, because I know Pakistan have really improved in terms of their skill levels, and I mean, if you look at both these sides, I mean, there's not much you can choose between them in terms of their bowling, the batting. I mean, they flooded with superstars here. So yeah, it's a tough one to call, eh? So yeah, I mean, 50-50 for me, eh? 50-50. I think it could go either way here.
Okay.
It's a tough one to call. It's a really tough one to call.
Okay, it's like heads or tails.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, the team that wins the toss is really going to have an advantage here, because I mean, we saw it last night with Afghanistan as well. I mean, bowling first, and I mean, wow, that was a brilliant move from them. So I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if I see the same today. So yeah, fantastic game. I'm hoping for a full house, as I say, great atmosphere, and may the best team win.
Okay, so to end this chat off, West Indies have lost a series to New Zealand for the ODIs. I mean, but at least it was a good match. 301 for 8. New Zealand won this by 5 wickets. Then they made 307 for 5. So congratulations to the New Zealanders. They're obviously a great side. And I think, yeah. What more can I say?
You say, I thought it was a very, very competitive series. I thought West Indies, they probably bottled it in that second game, where they were in a really fantastic position to win that game. And, you know, New Zealand really all guns blazing with the ball there. So, yeah, I think on balance of play, I think New Zealand probably deserved to win that series. So back to the drawing board for the West Indies. I mean, how often have we been saying this, back to the drawing board? But it really is back to the drawing board for them, and they've got to look at it, because they're not sitting on that the ICC Super League table as well. So I mean, we could possibly see qualifiers as well. Who knows?
Yeah, I think they'll probably join South Africa in that Super League qualification. So it is what it is. I mean, honestly, I'm not a fan of both the points format for the Test Championship League and for the Super League format. Although I say that the Test Championship format seems to be a lot more exciting than the Super League format. So, but it is what it is, and I hope even if we are in the qualification phase, we'll still go through, because there's just too much of pride on our side. West Indies, I think if they don't qualify, I mean, it'll be disappointing because people like to see West Indies, but I think they'll qualify. I mean, I think it's also pride for them too, so it'll be fun though to play them in the qualification phase though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you here. I mean, this ICC Super League is absolutely absurd to me. It doesn't make any sense at all. I think you should always go on rankings. I mean, top 8 should obviously get automatic qualification with the hosts, being India. So, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me at all. So, I mean, the Proteas obviously, they've had their ups and downs in ODI cricket. I'm still hoping there is a series against the West Indies, at home, before that Super League ends. So I'm hoping we can get some points there and probably propel us up that table. But, I'm looking at it now. If it had to go to a qualifier, probably wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But I'm hoping it doesn't. So, yeah, fingers crossed. I hope, everything goes well there. So, I'm hoping it's scrapped for the next, the next cycle as well. I'm hoping it's scrapped because it doesn't make any sense at all. It is. I mean, the ICC Test Championship, I mean, I'm loving it at the moment. I think that's adding a lot of excitement to Test cricket, because Test cricket was obviously getting a bit sour, a bit dull, and ICC have come up with this fantastic sort of innovation of the Test Championship, and that's added a lot of interest into the Test game. So I mean, that's really, really exciting for me.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the one-day league is being cancelled. I mean, the Super League thing has been cancelled anyway after this one, so it's fine. And I just find this percentage point system for this Test Championship a bit much, but it is what it is, and hopefully, well. So
I know you gave your prediction, India. So I'm just going to have a little bit of fun here, and I'm going to go with Pakistan. So you're going India, I'm going Pakistan. Let's have a bit of fun here. So a little bit of competitiveness. So I mean, as I said, Dubai is like home away from home for Pakistan. So it's essentially like a home game for them. So, yeah, I mean, let's see how it goes. So let's see how we go. A bit of fun there, but I still think it's a 50-50 game. So both sides are highly competitive. Yeah, so
I think with Rohit Sharma as captain, I feel India will win. He's got much more tactical nous than Babar Azam. Although I do like Babar Azam, he's like another version of Kohli, but just a bit more mellowed, if that makes sense. I mean, he's got a bit of pump, but not as much as Kohli. So I think I'll go with
Yeah.
India based on, yeah.
May the best team win. I'm hoping for a blockbuster.
Any final word before we wrapped off, or we pretty much sorted out?
Yeah. Any final thoughts from your side?
Uh, just to wrap off, SA to still win the final test, provided they bowl first, and then India to win today, and then yeah, that's it. I don't know if you concur with that, but anyway.
Yeah, I still back the Proteas. I think there's another. I think there's another one big performance coming from the Proteas batting lineup, and hopefully we see it in that final game. I think Elgar is due a big one, and I just got that feeling that he's going to come good in that in that last game because he's a really determined sort of player. A little bit of macho, a little bit too macho at times. I think he needs to tame it down a bit, but too macho with some of these decisions at time. But I think this is actually a good wake-up call for the Proteas, and they know what they need to do in that final game. So I mean, I'm hoping they come good too. And today, as I said, 50-50, but Pakistan slight favorites for me.
Okay, I shall see you soon.
Cheers, Sid. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care.
All right.